Welcome to the Mental Health Show. My name is Shamika Samuels. I hope that you enjoy your lovely evening. I know I'm enjoying my evening today. I came on a two I came on a five train, relaxed, well relaxed, and coming on the five train, I have to know how to connect with my mental health. So today's episode is a special episode to learn how to connect with your mental health and certain things that we go through in life and mental health wise is for us to rebuild and rebrand our state of mind. And sometimes we have to look at our mindsets in a different purpose and a different position of ourselves. And sometimes we have to learn how to separate from the negative and put the positive. So shout out to the Boogie Down Bronx. I was there yesterday, and I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back in the Bronx on a Friday actually to do my the mental health segment out in the Bronx. So big up to the Bronx. Give a shout out to the Boogie Down Bronx, the South Bronx, the East Bronx, the West Bronx, Cope City, my Jamaican veterans and my sisters, my Panamanians, my Dominican Republic people, and all the Puerto Rican people out there. We're gonna be back in the Bronx. I'm gonna be back in the Bronx on Friday, to go over to kind of do the episode that we supposed to be doing today. So let's talk about it. So how do we connect with your body and mental health? And this is a real situation of why we connect with our bodies. Our bodies is like a hormone cycle of our bodies. And sometimes we have to understand that certain type of levels of our bodies connects with our minds. And when our minds don't the way how we eat and the way how we exercise is how our bodies divide, and how we divide it is how we set it aside all the negative doubts and put the positive doubts in it. I love to talk about body image and body language and body hormones. And the one thing that manifests in your body hormone is sex. And the thing about it is that sex is a major topic of mental health that a man and a woman are and a partner will go through in the relationship is sex. And then when you lay down in the bed and you having sex with a person and you notice that your mental health is different because your brain cells shift when you're doing it, right? So it's like you're making sounds when you're doing it. And sometimes the sounds could be mental, the sounds could be dynamic, the sounds could be physical, or the sounds could be certain type of things that you need to understand in your mental health capacity. And what we go through in life is about understanding the build and rebranding and restaging of what our mental health is. And certain things I truly agree with what one of my colleagues was talking about is that when we look at sex, we look at mental health differences. And the difference between the sex and mental health, sex is a image of your body, and mentally is your mindset of your brain. So the difference between the two is your mental health and your body image and whatever your body image is. So let's get into the episode today. All right. So when we connect with our partner in mental health, our primary focus for health is generated positive change is to create boundaries in the bedroom as far as sex in the bedroom, our hormone levels, right? To elevate how we listen, to elevate how we manage our mental health and how our physical health affects our growth in the younger generation. So the thing about it is, the set this the when we look at mental, we look at our way how we put ourselves together, and the way how we talk and the way how we express our feelings. And this is the certain things. I was talking to a nephew the other day, and I said to her, and I said, I have an idea, and this idea was very very quick in my mind. I was in the Bronx, and I said, let's have a speed dating event where we could mix up. We could have like boys connect with women and women connect with men in mental health. And this is a brand that I was gonna start up coming soon. So you can look out for the information on the website that's coming soon um to the computer. So you can look at that. So we were talking about speed date. We was talking about like looking at your sexual mental health in a different perspective. You'll meet her one day. She'll be in one of my episodes for season two. So you'll meet her one day for season two. So yeah. So you know your mental health, your body image, and what are we going through as far as connecting with each other. And the certain things is with like I'm gonna share you my testimony. I was going through addiction and mental health where I was going through something that that caused my mental health to break. Depression, eating disorder, eating a lot of food. I lost weight. As you can see, I lost weight. So going through that, it made me realize that I was fighting something that I was not supposed to, fight in something. And when I was fighting it, I totally, come closer to my mental health, and my spirituality is to believe in myself and to understand what it is to gain the wealth of what our mental health is. And certain type of things that we're going through in your life, it's about learning the facts of what we believe in and what we receive in it, and what our mental health body image is. So I've been sober for 6 years, and I did not share it in the pilot episode, but I'm gonna share it now. I've been sober for 6 years of mental health, and as I was going through, I'm gonna share with you my story, and tell you that mental health, you're not alone in this position, because I struggle with it. I used to drink a lot, party a lot, dancing, doing my little dance, and with a girl, and the girl, I'm on the wall, and the girl bend over, and she, whining and all that stuff like that. I was kind of like in my mental health state of mind where enough is enough. Toxic relationships where you date girls, and the girl is abusive in the relationship, and you trying to you're trying to get yourself out of that situation. So to give you one segment closer, is that I've been sober for 6 years for my mental health, and I've been doing yoga meditation and spiritual yoga meditation to kind of I was fighting something in my body. I was fighting something that I was going through, and it was not it was something that I was not into, not into the woman and woman, man and man. I was more into like a heterosexual man attracted to a woman. So I don't judge people, but I understand that a lot of things that we go through in life is mental health. And it's like when we go through it, it's like I wasn't into those things. I wasn't into those type of things, but I was more into heterosexuality because that was what I came out as. So dressing. I didn't like women's clothes. I didn't like to wear girls stuff, but I more dressed like a boy because I wanted to be that type of person to be in a relationship with a woman. So that at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going through this phase in my life that my family members did not know how to accept it. They didn't know how to. They quickly judge me and criticize me and tell me certain things that I should not hear. But how I connect with mental health is that I go to my spiritual route, where mental affects our brain and our mindset and what we go through and how we go through it. And the one thing that I want to read to you real quick is mental health complies with young adult generations are more complicated in older adults is what? And it's what I'm saying is what is renewing of your mind, is rebuilding and rebranding our minds. And certain things our mindsets are is for us to let go and cut people off and lose them off, because certain things in your life is, how can we define peace of mind in our hearts, and how can we do certain things that could manifest in the power of authority in your mindset. And this is what it is. We could put our minds in one direction, but the direction that we are in, we have to change that and move ourselves from that, because you're living in a world that people don't realize that mental is affecting the community and affecting the world. And it's certain generations that we are going through that you can't manifest. And who am I to judge the generation that we're going through? Who am I to say, okay, you're this and that? Who am I to say that? I'm not gonna be the one to judge you and your proposition and what your favorism is, but I could able to tell you the key vocals and the key speakings of what it is that we have to work on and work with. And certain things that we have to work on is being respectful and being able to conquer our lives and understand that our life is more what sensational than living in a world where it's more not seenable. And the one thing that I want people to realize, that drinking alcohol is one of the things that make you go on the flip side of Brooklyn. And the thing about the flip side of Brooklyn is that you're drinking and your mind is like this. You fall asleep and your mind's going backwards instead of forwards. And the thing about it is like your mental health disorder in young adults is more common in among younger adults that who is 16 to 21 years old. And we look at 16 to 21, you look at what your lifestyle is at that time. Going through, I saw a kid on a two train coming home from work and coming home from doing my YouTube, my mental health show brand, and he was drinking Red Bull, and he got up and he had a weapon on him. And I said, I didn't say anything to him. I said, you know what? These young people have to realize that their mindset is different because they don't understand when to stop and quit and when to stop and give up. Because certain things you're doing and you're giving up and you're not pushing yourself to try to new things and different things in your life, and you're stuck in the middle of your mind. Your mind is speaking to you. You're not your body's not speaking to your mind. So as a person that's living inside of you, that's speaking to you, telling you certain things that you're not supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what mental health is about. It's about learning the facts of believing and building up what we are doing in our lifestyle. And that's what it is. And let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right. So young adults Americans starts to smoke, vape, and drink at a younger age to join gangs, other groups that can lead them to prison or jail. This is the truth. And about 94% young people are locked up behind bars, are doing time for what? Murder, doing time for what? Gang related, drug possession charges. A lot of stuff that goes on these young people's minds is the person that's speaking to them, and it's an intersection of the person. So I look at it like this: if I walk down the block and I see somebody saying, "Okay, I'm gonna jump off the bridge," you're gonna go ahead and jump off the bridge because somebody tell you to jump off the bridge. You have to know when to listen. You have to know when to lead by example and not follow the person that's telling you to do certain things. You have to know how to understand certain people and know how to believe in your situation and build from what it is that your preferences are. And I said to myself that when your mental spirituality is in the wellness of the person, you have to understand to change that person's wellness. And that's what it is. It's about your spirituality. It's about understanding the lifestyle that you're growing and what we growth and how we grow and how we develop. And this is what it is. You develop in a way of thinking and a way of life, but the life that we're living is not, I'm gonna say it's not rebellious, but it's more complicated, and that's what it is. So we have to live in a complicated world that's not rebellious. But the thing about rebellious is like we are living in a certain things that we can't do and we can't see it, but a person could see it. And this is what season two is gonna be about: mental health. It's about seeing it. I'm gonna have a couple of people on my show to have a panel discussion about it because this is what it is, and it's a situation where I talk of bus operators. I'm gonna have a couple of them on my show, and I'm gonna be uploading my the episode where I'm gonna be interviewing the driver while they driving the bus, and that this is what we're gonna start doing, and I'm gonna take the mental health on the road, and this is what we're gonna start doing. And the thing about it is that when we take mental health on the road, we're taking it to a level where people have to realize what they're going through and how we could fix, how we could change that community, how we could rebuild and rebrand the community. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help, and we're here to rebuild and rebrand the community. And that's what we trying to figure out what we can do to make it work and how we're going to make it work. And that's the question that people are asking: how are we going to make it work? And I'm going to give you the answer: how we're going to make it work. How I'm gonna make it work is for me to step up and say, listen, enough is enough with the situation. We stop. It's too much arguing, and this is one of the things. Too much arguing. We have to know when to stop arguing and set boundaries for yourself and for your relationship. You gotta set boundaries. Baby fathers, baby mothers, you have to set boundaries for your relationship because if you have a child together, you have to know when to set space for you to get your head right, and then get your baby mothers to get their head right for you to get back together and co-parent. But if you're trying to co-parent and your head is not right, then your life cycle is not correct. Then your head is not right. Because I think that when you look at mental health, you look at the difference between the two, and you look at it like, let's say I'm building up a brand and I'm gonna live life. But when I live my life, I can't live it in a level. I have to live it in the stages of my life. And sometimes you have to, let me say that again, you have to live in a level and not live in the stages of life, because your levels of your life is up more than your battle rhythm, than where you're going through and how you're gonna fix the situation. And certain things is like, May I talk the things that you say the look at Diablo are Cinco or Cianta, and the thing about it is Diablo is what we go through, and Cianto is what we see, and that's what it is. It's the two things, right? So young adults that start smoking weed at the age of 18 years old, moved out at their parents' house at 17 years old, end up begin smoking cigarette, drinking alcohol and vaping, and join again at 17 years old and 18 years old. A lot of people move out their mom's house at 17 years. My advice to all the young people: stay with your moms because your moms know best. A lot of people that live in my building, they move out their parents' house at 17 and they don't know they go into music business and they ended up broke and they end up begging on the street. And I say your mama know best because your mom knows what to do when it comes onto that. I said kids don't realize that your mama knows best. Your mama knows how to raise you right and know how to deliberate you correctly because you learn from the cycles that you're living in and you learn from your mental health state of mind. And the principalities of it is when I look at life, I look at life as a what beginning. And I'm gonna say that again. We look at life as a beginning because your beginning of your stage of your mental health is that belief is what you achieve and what we achieve is what you believe. But the thing about believing and achieving it, you have to know when to fight it and then not argue about it. You have to know when to fight it and face it like you're facing the devil. And certain things is like we talk like let me say it. You talking like you're facing something things, and this is what I had to do. I had to face the devil. Where I'm fighting my addiction, I had to face the devil because the devil was attacking my body. And certain things in the body that you're going through is a spirituality body that you're going through where mental health affects your mind. And that's what it is. But it affects your mind for you to grow and for you to build what you're going through and how you're going to do it and how we're going to get this, how you're going to receive it. And that's what it is. You got to receive it better for you to receive it in a more perfectible way, in a more suitable way. And this is what it is. You could learn at moments and movements of your life that you could receive it and you could rebuild it in a better division. But you're dividing it into two different stages. And let's go into the two different stages. And I'm going to go into that. The two different stages are patterns and principles of your battle rhythm. Your battle rhythm comes from your mental, and your mental comes from what your pattern, and your cycles of what you're going through is a harmonic cycle where you're going through it in a different values in a different respect of your own community. And this is what it is. You're going through a different values of your life that you could what divide it into the two, and you could receive it differently. But some things that we have to go through in life, it's about learning the facts and learning how to believe and receive it better, and then learn how to retrieve it in a good direction. And this is what we call home. This is what we call revelation power. This is what we call believing and receiving it. That's what it is. But some people don't know how to do it because they run away from their problems and they don't know how to fix it for their own. And let me say that again. Some people running away from their problems and they don't know how to face it on their own because you're running away from problems because you don't know when to step up and say, push your foot down and say enough is enough because your problems is right there and your mental health is right there. So when you look at your mental health and your problems, you run away from it because you see like, okay, I want to be a person that can run away from what I'm going through, but what I'm going through is a life cycle that people can't change. And people could change, but how we could change is how we could believe, and how we could believe is how we could receive it. And this is what it is. This is what it is. You learn by your battery. You learn by the respect of the person, and you could feel like, okay, the show must go on, but the show is gonna go on because I feel like if it's go on when my mental health is good, the other person mental health is good. That means we not good, and then when you're not good, then the person's not good. So let's get deeper into it because we have a lot of time. We gotta get deeper, right? So movement of mental health is you see young for generation begin beginning at the train station to become homeless because of their mental addiction. But they don't want to get help because of mental health problems. They don't. They don't. Because they want to get addicted to the drugs and the crack and cocaine and methamphetamine, and they don't want to go to rehab to get help. That's what I did. I checked myself into rehab because I needed to get help because I was going through it. And when I was going through it, it's like, all right, I'm going through it and I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to face it. I'm trying to face it on my own. But sometimes it's a struggle to face it on your own. but I have to know how to face a person like I'm facing a person like they're the devil, because the devil is right there. The devil is the person, because when you talk about the person and you look at mental health, they bound at you like they like you're a prophet. You're not like I'm not a prophet. I'm not a pastor. I'm not none of these things that y'all bound down to. You need to stop bowing down to fake prophecy and start believing in yourself for your mental health and start changing what it is that you need to do. And certain things you have to change is your what? Your mind and your body. You know what I'm saying? Right. So your health is what it was more important. Your body is more important. Your spirituality is more important. And what you're doing is you're trying to change what it is that you have to go through. And this is what it is. So I'm gonna share with you a testimony and I'm gonna read it to you real quick. All right. A heterosexual man who was on the street who wanted to develop a mental health group that helps a young person who wants to change their life and to make a difference, thinking about opening up a mental health club that benefits ending lives on the street. Right, right. So a young man on the 2 train started smoking and vaping and drinking alcohol and Red Bull on the 2 train. The struggle of mental is really something that a young man is was going through. That man had a weapon and thinking about committing suicide. The mental health of his brain circles into his heart of a young generation, but in the benefits of his experience, he had a rough childhood and development depression, which caused mental health issues. Basketball wellness products will be available commercially coming soon. So coming soon to your area near you is a mental health podcast conference in your state. So I'm spanning it into Seattle, Washington, New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, Brooklyn. Oh, I said Brooklyn again. Staten Island, the Bronx, Long Island, Long Beach, Freeport, Hampton Bay, New York State, Buffalo, Poughkeepsie, California, Long Beach, New Jersey, New Jersey City, Boston, Connecticut, Milford, and Newark. So the topics involving mental wellness awareness training. The theme of this conference is develop your own personality well being journey, and this is what the theme is. I'm gonna write this down. The theme of the mental health conference podcast is develop your personal well being journey. That's the theme of it. I wrote it down, and I'm gonna tell you. Develop, let me read it again because everybody says say it again. Develop your own personal well being journey. Will teach young people how to manage stress levels of their mental health. The most effective method about mental health is sharing your thoughts of your emotion and experience with others in your own personal space and values. And the number one thing about it is sharing what? Sharing your thoughts and expressions. Present yourself with your own ideas. Create feedback that helps others to improve their mental health. And this is four things I want to read. This is four things I want to share with you. And I wanna put this one to practice. Development of your pattern. Development of your pattern is to develop a pattern of your principles. How you develop is how you receive it better. And how we equals creating positive outcomes and a result equals learning outcomes that will improve equals understanding how you will achieve. All right. So present your own results equals creating federal guidelines that will help your knowledge to grow equals sharing your knowledge with others in your community equals do your research that help others learn about your knowledge. Diversity of knowledge equals develop your skills equals knowledge of work and learning process of the most critical aspects. Developing your knowledge, learning process in your mental health equals creating freedom of expression and creating equals creating your ability to control your emotions. Talking about freedom of expressions. And we talk about this, right? We talk about freedom of expressions, right? So freedom of expressions, what is freedom of expressions? My freedom of expression is to express myself freely and not being ignored because what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses and develop the world around me and creating my world and wellness of which that evolves in my own mental health. That's a very good question. So what develops me in my mental health and what the world that I live in is a satisfaction world. And it's a spiritual world for me because I do spiritual yoga to make my mental health good. And some people don't realize that raising your blood pressure, your heart start to hurt you, your chest start to hurt you, is not gonna help you with your mental health. And let me tell you that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because your mental health is a struggle that people go through, and when we go through mental health, It's about learning your truth and learning what is your truth and what is your experiment of mental health. And certain people have to understand your experiment of mental health is about rebuilding and rebranding yourself. And how do we build and rebrand is how we compromise our situation, how we while we learn how to develop and how we can receive it better. And this is what we do: develop and receive it better. So tomorrow morning I'll be on the beach, and I'm gonna teach about mental health. I'm gonna be talking on the beach, Manhattan Beach. I'm gonna be filming over there, and I'll be talking about wellness, about wellness journey of mental. A lot of people go on the beach to reduce stress, and when you look at the walls and the sand, you look at it as a healing process. It's like your medicine. It's like your medicine to heal and deliver. And when you deliver and heal, it's about learning what you're thinking and what your expectations are. And this is what it is. Your expectations is how you grow and how you receive it better. And this is what it is. When we look at your mental and we look at your expectations, we look at your expectation as a what? Journey. And your journey of faith is when we do certain things in your life, you got to receive it in a different perspective. And this is what it is. We gotta receive it in a different perspective, because the perspective of it is when we learn how to develop is you have to develop in a QR code. And your QR code is your levels of respect. And that's the QR code. Your levels of respect will divide into your levels of knowledge and understanding. And that's what the QR code is, right? So your levels of respect is for you to understand what is it that you're going through and how you're going to get through it and how you're going to receive it better and how you're going to learn how to develop in your mental health. And that's what it is. You sit on the couch, you want to cry, you want to do this and that. It's not going to help your situation. You need to get up and go take a walk and walk around the block and explore your community. Explore where you live at. Explore certain things instead of sitting in the car doing nothing. You see me? I don't sit on the couch doing that. I explore different various. I explore the world, because the world, sit in the couch will make my body shut down. My legs start to swell up, and you start to have big legs and all that. And this is what it is, because we don't learn how to develop in a mental health state of mind, because our purpose of mental health is about building up and rebranding our own self-esteem. And this is where our self-esteem is. For you to learn is for you to accept it, and for you to accept it is for you to receive it in a different perspective of your own life. All right. So that's what it is. So let me give you some tips. Let me give you some tips. Let me give you some tips on how I do it. I have to talk in Trinity for people to understand what I'm saying. When you argue, I have to talk in Trinity to say, "Oh gosh, no." You know what I'm saying? I have to talk in Trinity for you to shut up. I have to talk in Trinidad for you to say what it is. But the thing about it is, to level your argument, you have to talk in a language that they don't understand. And this is what it is. You got to talk in a language that they don't understand. If I say Wagwan, my peeps and my sisters, Wagwan. But the thing about it is, if I say, "Oh gosh, no," I'm going to say, "Oh gosh," because you are causing problems that you cannot handle. And I'm going to set aside my thoughts, and I'm going to set aside my peace. And I'm going to say, "Oh gosh, I'm going to live life." And if I say, "Oh gosh, no," I'm going to live my life in the way Alice Golden. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what it is. But the thing about it is, I'm not gonna look at it in a different perspective. I'm gonna look at it in a level of what respect, and that's what it is, right? So that's the point of the pattern, right? So let's finish. All right. Develop your strength and ability to rhythm will help you develop your self esteem and your own mental health wellness. And one of the things I want to say is your self esteem wellness is that your self esteem wellness is about rebranding and rebuilding your career. Your predicament of what it is that you're going through and how you go through it is how the standard of a reflection is, and how you reflect is how you see it differently, and how you see it differently is how you receive it in a good route. And this is what it is. It's about reflecting your goals and reflecting your knowledge and reflecting the peace that you're going through. And this is what it is. And it said, like, the quote of the day is, when you walk in the valley, you will see your body gradually improve in your mental health wellness. And this is a quote that I did. All right. So the introduction is, how do we connect with with our bodies and mental health, and how we connect. How do you connect with your body? How do you learn about certain things in your life that you connect with, right? So I'm gonna go into this next one, because we have a lot of time, and we could go into this real quick. So part two of this is part one of how we develop. And part two is your voice. So let's go into part two, your voice. So your voice will always make you grow in mental health. So the part two of this is speaking. So write this down. Speaking skills of your own self is learning how to engage with others to elevate your diversity of your voice. And your voice, when you speak, your voice is when you speak of with your own words. That is powerful words and phrases that you will see, and you speak especially for yourself in significant situations. Life is about being yourself and learning how to communicate and express your emotions in a different manner that communicates that than communicating with curse words. Your speech can also relate to your emotions or mood. In your background voice is your battle rhythm is involving the tools of communication and learn the words in your mind journey. And the three things I want to look into part two of this is creating your thoughts into your passion of learning skills. Understanding how you grow unity and picture your thoughts into action image. Styling your reflection is helping others to grow harmony. Put together your style in words, creating a positive environment that can encourage others to grow. Reflection, progress, renewal, progress. You put you out your strength. You put out your strength. All right, let me say you you put out your strength in a positive environment. So I say you put out your strength. You put out your strength in a positive environment. So you put out your strength in that environment so you could grow in that what environment, in the community environment. And this is what community producers does. Community producers go out and produce their segments of what their impacts of what they feel are and what their relation is. And what your relation is what your tools are. And certain things is your tools are is to reflect on your body image and on your body levels of what you're speaking about and how you speak and how you develop. So how your body move is how you speak, and how your body feel is how your body or your body reverse certain things in your life. So that's what you have to understand. So building a Samus foundation is building up your voice to speak up and understand your barrier results of social media platforms and social network influence. One of the things that the Samus Foundation is working towards is building affordable housing for lower income communities. That means housing for 5 bedrooms or more, affordable housing in the Mayfair community residence, Connecticut. So Speak Up is a deal also that create an affordable job opportunities and training opportunities as well for the youth development community. And one of the things I'm developing in Mayfair, Connecticut is a land. So I have a land that I'm having placed, and I'm building up a 5 bedroom studio in Mayfair, Connecticut. And this project is a foundation project that I'm working on to expand my mental health brand and to expand what it is that what I dream of and what I vision. And what we vision is what we receive, and how we vision is how we receive it. And the introduction of this project is that Mental Health Project, Samuel's Family Foundation program that provides supports for family who struggles financially with mental health issues. Coming soon is a mental health meeting of our Samuel's home. We'll be live in our house. Tune in for more information about mental health projects and building up affordable housing for family. First step for the Samuel's Foundation housing for Samuel's family is. So the introduction of it, I'm gonna read it to you. So the theme of this one is of this foundation is community growth of mental health. So community growth of mental health is that when we build community, we grow in community in our body. We grow in community in our minds. We grow in community in our spirituality. We grow in community in the community. So the producers of the community, where we go out and produce a segment for the show, we go out and we film certain things that we see in mental health. Like I do after this, I'm going to tour around the city, and I'm gonna film certain things that mental health is about. And mental health is about filming. It's about community. It's about showing your purpose areas and what your purpose areas is, and what are your styles, and what are your rhythms, and what are your relationship rhythms. And that's what it is, right? So it's promoting and to make decisions. Located in the Mayfair community area, we will provide mental health support for our community members throughout community leadership, spiritual development team that will benefit from making better decisions in challenging times and support artists in building trust in the community. So Fight Fest production will be in Medford, Connecticut area where we develop a community resile of support and of each other. Materials, right? We materials of a team, right? Will help community conflicts will help build up community and how we communicate with your team and development in your own zone. All right, levels. Write this down. Levels equals discipline mentality. All right, content equals your ability to control yourself and grow. Equals learning from your mistakes. Self defense, getting your hands in the game, and equals level out your game. Self discipline means defense your pattern and control your principles. And the levels of the work that we're doing is for us to divide in our mission of building up and creating a base world of leadership. And this is what we're doing. We're building up the world of leadership that will develop. So let's talk real quick about what we're doing. Let's talk real quick because I want to talk about this real quick before we have a lot of time. Let's talk real quick about what we about to do, what we about to say, and what we are going to express today. So in mental health, we learn how to develop in a peace of mind, and I learned by equality and equal growth of growth in principles. Your body image is your voice, and whatever your voice is whatever we put together. We could look at your life in a different perspective way. All right, one of the things that we're for understanding in life is about growth, and the growth about it is that we have to learn how to accept our life in a different type of zone. And what our zone is turning our chair towards the camera, right? So when we turn the chair around the camera, we see when our mental growth in what our principality is. And what do we do in this growth? Is that you see a person sitting beside you, and you're saying that the growth of this person is that what they're feeling is how they're receiving it. And what they're receiving it is how they grasp it. And when we grasp the situation, is how we grow in what? Community, right? So community is that this. We building up a levels of understanding of our life. And whatever our life is we put it in a principle of our authority of living. And the certain things of what we are doing is to develop a principality of your culture. And the culture of it is that your life your life depends on who you are as a person and how we could define what it is that we're fighting for. And a lot of people is that you're reading the relationship and you're really dealing with what it is and you really understand what it is. And the one thing that I want to share with you, and I think I was gonna share with you. I think my nephew wanted me to share this, and I want to share it with you. Oh, if you don't mind. Oh, let's share it. Oh yeah. Oh, we gonna share it though, because if you don't mind me sharing, I'm gonna share it on my show, right? It's about mental health, so I'm gonna share what I'm gonna share, right? So you know, it's about equality, right? It's about what we are building and how we're gonna build and how we're gonna get there, right? So, with with what we doing and how we gonna do it, right? So, with my mental health show that we plan to do, I actually planned this because, to be honest with you, Neffy actually, Neffy and my kid, Neffy and my kids inspired me to do, this show and inspired me to, share my story to the people. And one thing that inspired me is my boom boom, Layla. Hey, my boom boom, hi boom boom, yeah. I love you too, yeah. So my boom boom inspired me to do this, and and I'm gonna show you a picture of her. Yeah. So this is my boom boom. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So she inspired me. She's always on my screensaver. Yeah. So with mental health wise, you know how it is, right? You know the situation. You know the struggle of it is. But in life, we have to you have to depend on who we are as a person and how can we connect with it, right? And how can we regroup with what the situation is. So mental health is how what our motivation is. Let me say, what is your motivation and how can we develop it? So what is your motivation? Your motivation is the way how you speak, the way how you talk, the way how you connect yourself. So your motivation is this too, right? Your motivation is how we develop and how we receive it differently, right? So the key points of your motivation is you speak in you speak in the tools of your life and your life identity. And how does your physical how does your physical mindset work in that? All right. So I'm gonna share with you one thing that I was gonna talk about my next episode, but we're gonna talk about it for the next episode. For the next episode of the mental health show, we're gonna talk about how your mindset works when you have when your mind supports your mental health, right? So it's how your mindset work, right? So I'm gonna go to the, the yeah, this is the one I want to go. Oh yeah. So I wanted to share with you one thing, right? So the one thing I want to share with you is how do we develop in our sexuality? How do we accept it in our mindsets, right? So you know, reading this is really, really got me into really got me into what we are gonna be into. So I'm gonna read it to you, right? So with Nephi and I, we've been friends for 12 years, and we've been on and off for 12 years, right? And when during our friendship, we used to talk about certain type of things together. And when I came out in October about my sexuality, it was a struggle for the both of us because I was fighting an addiction at the time when I was friends with her for the last 12 years. When she got pregnant with bosom and I, we started connecting more when she got pregnant. And when I noticed about when she led me into my mental spirituality, she led me into a thing where my aunt Karen said enough is enough. She had to call her to come, right, to come and work at the salon at the time. So we've been friends for 12 years, and I want to share this with you on my show because she doesn't know that I'm going to share it because she told, like, it was a surprise. So I'm going to share it. With us being friends, we disconnect because of conflict, insufficient conflict differences in our life that we could grow as a team, And one of the things that really made me happy was when I first saw Boom Boom Layla. And when I first saw Layla was when I had to put away my selfish acts, and I had to focus on my health, my mental health in a different perspective. So I met Neffy around July 1st. It was around her birthday we met. And when I met her, I felt very close, like very connected with her spirit, like real talk. And felt very connected. My mom used to go by the salon, and my and nephew used to do her hair, and my mom and her used to talk a lot. And the disconnect started when her family members, when one of her family members got involved between the friendship and the relationship. Because when you look at the friendship and the relationship, you look at a person's lifestyle, you look at the person's love for one another. And the love for one another was back when she and I used to talk a lot. We used to connect. We used to talk a lot. Like when we used to take a walk together with Buzzman down the street, and talking a lot about mental health. And she said to me she wanted to, she wanted to change, and she wanted us to talk together on the show. And I said, yeah, we could do that. But I feel like, with the connection, the disconnect is when we don't know when to say enough is enough and not getting people involved in our friendship. And I said, this is how it starts, friendship, right? And this is how it's going to start. But we need to know how to be friends before we start taking it further. And I tell people, start being friends. Start looking at why you became friends before you become lovers. You know what I'm saying? So why you become friends is when you become lover, right? So I look at it like in a way of connection. And it's attraction. It's like a spiritual attraction. And as a heterosexual man, I had that attraction. You know what I'm saying? But in my life, I could look at it in a different perspective life. My family didn't understand it because they were like, "Oh, leave this girl alone. This girl, this and that." It's like they don't get it. The point of why you became friends with this person. They don't get the point of why you became in this situation. They don't get the point of why you don't know the person's life and the person's lifestyle. The one thing that she had issues with was the issue that we struggle with in the relationship was sex. And the thing about it was the thing. Let me talk because it's true. And the thing about it is that a lot of people have issues where a man wants the woman want the man to touch them, but at the end of the day, you're fighting an addiction that you can't go back to. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like when you see a certain type of vision of your life, it's like, all right, I could visualize it. I could look at it differently, but I'm gonna learn how to fight my addiction before I come talk about it. Because even in the day when you talk about it, it's like, okay, I'm stressed out for one thing, and I'm looking at another thing, and I'm like, okay, who the person's talking about, who the person's expressing. But the expression is that you're fighting something that you are mentally, as a mentally. You know what I'm saying? So the issue is that we was going through it, and I struggled a lot with it because I couldn't touch nobody when I was a kid. I couldn't touch nobody sexually because at the day I had to work on me because that was a mental health addiction. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand what it is as a mental health addiction to a mental health recovery. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I felt like, okay, we had that connection, but it's like, oh, she want to go see other people, I want to go see other people, and that was not what it was. But I felt like seeing other people is not gonna make the friendship connect, because how you could see that and you have kids that could reflect on that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, I'm gonna look at it in a different perspective. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna feel like, okay, I got swag, I got all that. But I gotta look at my swag. Let me say it. I gotta look at my swag as I look at my culture. And let me say one more. Let me say one more. I gotta look at my swag before I look at my culture, because my swag ain't right, then my culture's not right. You know what I'm saying? So if I look at my swag, I ain't looking at my culture. You know what I'm saying? So mental health wise, you gotta understand what it is that you're fighting against and what you're fighting for. So at the end of the day, we talked, and I said to her, we talked, and I said to her, we haven't talked for, actually, we stopped talking in 12 years. So 2025, we haven't talked in 12 years. Be honest with you, we haven't talked for 12 years. And this will be the first time she's going to be on my show, and we're going to be talking on live, on camera for the first time in 12 years. You know what I'm saying? It's really like, it's really like a difference, because she was the one who inspired me when I started attending the firehouse, M&M Firehouse, when she came by to see what I do for a living, to see what type of work that I did. And the thing about it is, when you look at mental, you look at your own, you look at your own health, and you look at what it is that you want to do in your life. And sitting there, and I thought about sitting there, and I'm on a train, and I meditate on the train. I close my eyes. I said, listen, sitting there looking at life, I could look at mental in a different perspective of my own culture. And I look at my life, and I look at my life as a what do you call it, as a comeback. You know what I'm saying? Right. I look at my life as a comeback, because your comeback is your success. Let me say that one more time. Your comeback is your success, right? So when you look at your comeback, you look at your success, right? So my family members didn't understand it at first. My mom was like, "You need to leave her alone. Leave her alone. Like, leave her alone, because I don't want to hear nothing about her. Leave her alone." And I said to my mom, "You don't understand the friendship, mom. You don't understand what it is to be friends with somebody that you could share your secrets with. You could share your thoughts with. You know what I'm saying? Who you could talk to about certain type of things that you could, and you understand what I'm saying? You could talk to somebody that is your friend. It's your best friend. It's your bestie. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's your bestie. It's like, yeah, it's like you got like you gotta know when it's your bestie and then when it's your enemy. You know what I'm saying? But we wasn't enemies. We were just besties. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when there was attack, when she was when it was under attack, when she was starting to the changes of her differences, like it was under attack because where was the friendship when we first met? When we could, I have to go back to that friendship when we first met, and I want to talk to her about when we first met, and I want to know like what do you see in a person when you first met a person? Because at the end of the day, you look at a person and you look at the mindset of a person, and you're like, oh, when we first met, how do I look at a person when they first met? I don't look at the body, I look at their looks. Let me say that one more time. I don't look at the body, I don't look at the butt, I look at their looks because at the end of the day, I don't look at the mental health in the butt. I don't look at the girls in the butt. I look at the girls with the affection of what my mind is and where my heart is at. But sometimes when I look at it, it's like my mental health is different because I received a lot of feedback about the show, and it was like, my homie's like, yo, do the show, man. You doing good, man. You making bread. You making all this franchise, and you're building your brand, and you're learning how to do certain things in your life, and you learn how to set an example for yourself. And the other day, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set that goal. And the thing about it is, when I look at it, I'm like, when I look at it, the struggle with us was she was fighting her addiction, I was fighting mine. And the other day, I couldn't bring that around her because it was anger that I was going through. And it was anger for my past relationship with my ex girlfriend. And that's what I'm saying? And when you look at the anger, I don't want to bring that anger towards her. Feel like, okay, where was the friendship connection? Where was that? And I look at that. And certain things are like, oh, you come out in the win. And I like to talk about the win because when you talk about the win, you talk about the reflection of the win. And when you talk about when you talk about certain type of people, you gotta learn how to set. You gotta know how to set aside certain people. And you have to learn how to look at it in a different perspective, in a different way of life. And this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you broke up with a friend, you break up with a friend, you go into a deep depression because you break up with a friend. You know what I'm saying? But she didn't know when I stopped talking to her, I went into that depression as well. And I miss that friendship, to be honest with you. I miss her and I miss the friendship that we had. And real talk, like real talk, it's like I started changing up my looks, and she the one who let me change. I bought new clothes and everything like that, and I miss all the friendship with her. Like real talk, and sometimes we both cry together because, what is it that we have to go through? What is it that we have to fix in order to bring that back? You feel what I'm saying? With mental health, what is it that we have to fix to bring that friendship back? You feel me? But at the end of the day, we look at it in a different perspective. We look at it in a goal of, living it. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like the friendship broke in October when I first met Tanea at Manhattan School of Computer Technology. That's when the friendship broke. And I met Tanea like around October 2018, I think. Yeah. And when I met Tanea, the business relationship was broken too because after she left, I broke down. I said, "Listen, what happened to the friendship? You feel me? When we have the bull listen, let me say that the BS bull crap of the negative bullshit and the negative crap that we go through in life, you're bringing in all that nonsense in there. It shouldn't have happened. You feel what I'm saying? It shouldn't have happened because you missed that. You feel what I'm saying? You missed the talks. You missed what you going through and certain things mental health wise. It's like, nah. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna build. I'm gonna do what I can to make it work. And you're gonna see her on the show. You're gonna see her on the second season too. But she's gonna be on she's gonna be on one of my episodes when I'm gonna zoom in with her. So yeah, we're gonna zoom in through the camera. Yeah, so Yeah, so I'm gonna zoom in with her so we could talk about mental health because this is a very concerned topic with people going through, and it's so, especially with younger adults, is mental health, is depression and anxiety. And the thing about it is smoking weed is one of the causes of that too. And it's like you don't realize that you're going through certain type of visions of your life, and it's like, where's the friendship? Where is that? Where you first met? Where you first seen each other? When you're gonna bring that back? And that's what it is. And when you bring that back, it's about connecting with one another. And I told nephew, I said, where is the friendship where we have to connect with each other? And where is it where you used to be my best friend? Like, what happened to that? Why you used to be my bestie? Like, what happened? Like, why we disconnect? And the thing about being a best friend is that you being a best friend is, I said to people, it's more being a best friend than being a lover. Feel what I'm saying? Like, no, real talk, real talk. Being a best friend is seeing the person to understand more than being a lover to a person. Because when you're in a relationship with a person, they don't know that the person is your best friend. The person that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with is your best friend. You feel what I'm saying? And nephew is my best friend. She's the one that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with. And one of these days, yeah, I'm gonna say it on my show. You're my best friend. You feel me? And I love her very much. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna feel like, oh, enough is enough, and all that drama, all that bickering, backering, all that back and forth. You my best friend. You still are gonna be my best friend, and we're gonna spend the rest of our life as my best friend. You know what I'm saying? So you got like certain things she could talk to me about, and I could understand, and I could talk to her about, she could understand. And certain things is that your best friend is who you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. You feel me? Tanea, she's just a friend that we went through hard times, and I do forgive her, and like I said, I'm gonna say this on my show. I do forgive her though, like real talk, but I'm not gonna go back there. You feel me? And I want to thank Kiana because Kiana was the one who scheduled all this, and she's the one who's gonna supervise and manage my brand too as well, And I tell you, I told Kiana, where's the friendship? Where is the friends where you become friends and not being lovers? I think being lovers is more disconnect than being a friend. You feel what I'm saying? But when you be a friend, you learn how to connect with your friend. You feel me? And mental, you gotta learn how to connect with your friend for you to build up your brand. And that's what I said. I love my best friend nephew. I love my friend Tanea. But at the end of the day, I gotta know when to set boundaries. And Tanea is a business a business, and nephew is my best friend, and that's why I got separated too. You feel what I'm saying? So I gotta learn how to like. I have to learn how to not. I have to learn how to I have to learn how to unpack it. So when you unpack it, you have to know how your motivation and how you speak it up and how you do certain things and how you develop. I love my moms too because she also is my best friend. You know what I'm saying? I love my aunt Marlene because she my bestie too. And I love my aunt Latoya, Auntie Nada, or Toti, all my crew and all my Nostrand crew and everything because excuse me, y'all been there for me and anybody else would have gone for me, really. So that day, you gotta love and not hate on one love. Accept the person's sexuality. Like, I'm a heterosexual man, accept that. You know what I'm saying? Accept the diagnosis, accept that. Cause I have Claflin syndrome, accept that. But at the day, I'm not gonna prove myself to nobody. And I tell people, everybody say, preach it again, brother, preach it again. I'm gonna preach it one more time. I got 2 minutes. I got to preach it one more time. I'm preaching it one more time. I'm a preaching it one more time, right? So that day, I'm not wiping nobody ass to make let me say, I'm not gonna wipe anybody. I'm not gonna wipe nobody ass to make money. Feel what I'm saying? I'm not gonna wipe nobody ass to put food on the table. Feel me? I'm not gonna wipe nobody ass to pay my rent. You feel me? I'm not gonna wipe nobody ass to come on the show and do the show. Feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna come on the show and be positive about my life, and I'm gonna deliver it how I'm gonna deliver it. I'm gonna talk how I talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna spread it out. I'm gonna talk the way I talk because it's how I talk. You know what I'm saying? But at the day, I'm not, like I said, Matty and Chani, we grew up as cousins and shit like that. I said, where's the friendship though? But where's the friendship? We grew up as cousins, but where the friendship is at though? But we disconnect because of the negativity, and then the negativity will come from that too. But you know what I'm saying? But you have to realize that, yo, we all love each other, bro. And at the day, like nephew, the bro, he's a brother. He's like a brother. He's like a brother to me, bro. At the end of the day, he's like a brother, like real talk. But at the end of the day, bro, he's still my bro. You feel what I'm saying? He's still my bro. We cool. You feel what I'm saying? But at the day, I'm not gonna bring up the past and then, oh, we not cool and this and that. We gonna be cool. You know what I'm saying? We gonna be brothers, and we gonna be brothers one of these days. You know what I'm saying? We bros. You know what I'm saying? My brother Joshua, I love him too. He's watching the show. Marquise, my other bro, Jaquan, the brother from another mother, you feel what I'm saying? But at the day, you gotta know how to love yourself and know how to appreciate what you're doing and how you're gonna appreciate the love that you have for one another. And this is what mental health is about. It's about showing the love and affection. Because when you don't love a person, you're not gonna learn how to reflect on what your goals in life is. And this is what it is. And this is what we're gonna have to do is to develop and build. And this is what we have to accomplish. Because when you don't accomplish certain things in your life, it's about love. And I love I love Lamar, I love Chris Sassy, I love Auntie Latoya. And this is what it is. We family and we're gonna love. So that's it for the Mental Health Show. I'll be back next week for another episode. So tune in on YouTube and like, subscribe on YouTube, Shamika Salmon, and tune in on Wednesday nights to the Mental Health Show on the Manhattan Neighborhood Networks on the Lifestyle Channel too. If you don't have the Manhattan Neighborhood Networks on your TV, you could go on the website and click watch live, and I'll be on that website as well. So tune in, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your successful of your night. All right. So I'm gonna dub it. I'm gonna work it out. Dub. All right. We good.